Welcome back, you guys. You are listening to the Menopause Love Lounge. We have all the ladies in the house once again for us today. Let's say hello to our pussy posse, should we? Ozzy, you are already nodding and you are in the groove, girl. How are you?
Hi, hi, hi. Hello, everyone. I'm good. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. I'm great. Karen Viesta, looking
Hey,
lovely. How's it
hey.
going?
Hottie.
It's good. How are you ladies?
I think we're all good. We're excited for our topic today, so we're going to go fast. Judy
Yeah.
Moon.
Pussy posse. I'm thrilled to
Whoop,
be
whoop.
here. Yay.
Yay, Don Wiggins. Hello, my dear.
Hello, sunshines. Thank you for hosting
Hello.
us as
Oh my,
usual.
love it. Lori Gerber, waiting so patiently. How are you?
Not my usual virtue.
I was going to say, did we put Lori and
Sitting
patient in a sentence
pretty.
together?
She's
I didn't
not
steal it
thinking.
this time, Lori.
I'm not. I'm not.
Oh, that's okay. I'm your host, Andrea Kanoki. Today, we are so excited. I think we've been kind of teasing a little bit of this through each episode as we go because we are dying to talk about the big finish, the big O, the big orgasm is what we are dying to talk about today. And so we kind of want to talk a lot about like what sex is like after menopause. Are we still having these big orgasms? Are we still enjoying ourselves so much as we used to? Are we shouting it loud and clear from the rooftop that I just had an orgasm? I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to go through our
Find out.
usual we're going to find out. We're going to go through our usual personal reflections today where we're going to hear from each of us about what has changed for us in the ability to orgasm or the desire to self-pleasure during midlife. So that's going to be interesting and things that have maybe surprised us at this point in our lives. We're going to do our usual stats, our cultural watch. Karen is going to hit us with some good stats. I'm going to talk about some celebrity stuff and what they're doing with their own orgasms or lack thereof. We don't know. And we're going to finish it out, opening up the legs like a beautiful flower. And we are going to play a little of Never Have I Ever, which is one of my favorites to play. So I've got some doozies for you ladies today. So we're going to jump in on that. Let's get going. Yeah.
Doozy.
We're
Yeah.
excited. Woo. All right, you guys. Who wants to jump in and start? I
But
know
Andrea, I
somebody.
think you should go first. I feel like you lead the way on
Because I'm always like the
being honest.
opposite of
Do
everybody
I
else.
have to talk about playing with myself first thing in the morning? Like could you please
I'll
start?
talk about it for you, Lori. I can talk about it 24/7, so don't you worry. All right,
What I
you
love.
guys. So I'll talk about my orgasms, or unfortunately, want lack thereof. I don't have them during intercourse. We've kind of touched on this before. I just don't. I don't know. It's always been a struggle for me. I used to think, well, I remember being told that it was because I was tall. And I went with that for a while. I'm like, oh,
Whoa.
I know. Tall
We
girls don't
disagree.
orgasm.
We disagree.
So it has nothing to do with that, is what you say.
No,
Wow.
we feel like
Boo.
we can rule that out. We can rule that out.
All right. All right. Honestly, I just think I get in my head about it. I totally
Yeah.
do. I set myself up for it. I get to a point and then I start thinking, please let me orgasm, please. And I know I'm thinking it not only for me, but for the guy to feel like he's done his job. And so it makes it so much more work for me. I don't know. I've tried it on edibles. I've tried it not. It just doesn't, like, I can't get my head clear to not be thinking about, like, did I get groceries today? I don't know. I'm just thinking about all of the wrong things. And so it makes it very difficult for me. But what I have really been discovering with myself is that I love foreplay. Foreplay
Mm.
is definitely where it's at for me. I could hump a leg all day and like literally have like these feelings inside, right? Like these orgasms. And the last guy that I was with, and it might be current, but I'm really not going to talk about that right now. But the last guy that I was with, what I'm discovering, and it might be that it's just the person, is when he even just gets close to just touching me, even with like panties on, I start convulsing. Ooh, I know.
Mhm.
I know. And so what I've been learning, because I've been having all of these sex experts on my other podcast from Mrs. to Ms., and what they're telling me is that there's such a difference between climax and orgasm, and that you can
Mhm.
still get to that point, which is the highest point that I get to, but I just cannot get over the hump. And so I guess what I want to learn from you ladies is, should I just be okay with that, or should I be striving for more at this point?
Can I just
Ooh,
ask,
ooh, ooh, ooh,
with
ooh,
the
ooh.
with yourself alone, do you have an orgasm?
I do, with a vibrator. I do.
Okay.
And I
So
could have
your body is
multiple.
capable of having an orgasm.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And the humping of the leg, you can have an orgasm or no?
No, it just gets me to that climax part.
Mm.
Fascinating. Okay, it
I
seemed like
have to
Judy wanted
jump
to
in.
say something.
I have to jump in. And I know, Andrea, you like wanted to hear from like what else is there from everybody, and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I will just say, holy shit! Yeah, we could curse, right? Holy
Yeah.
shit! Like you just described me to a T. Like seriously,
Yeah.
literally. Oh my god, crazy. Where the only way I've ever really been able to have the full O was with a vibrator.
Yes.
And that men, especially like feeling like it's their job, or feeling like I'm disappointing them, or oh gosh, will I come, so
Mhm.
that they feel good, and finally, and I'm in my head. So it's unbelievable what you just said. And
Yeah.
what I've noticed, and kind of goes into the allowing thing, what I've noticed is the more work I've done on myself in reference to loving myself, relaxing, honoring, all the stuff with the shadow work I do for myself and my clients, of course, is I'm able to just relax more. And with my partner now that I
Mhm.
trust implicitly,
Yes.
I am moving into what you're just talking about, which is, and this is new for me, which is energetic orgasms, where
Yes.
the lightest touch or the the humping, as you said, it's like, oh my God, and what I have found is that the more I can relax into it and trust my body and trust
Mm.
him to not go into the, oh, I have this mission to bring her somewhere, that
Performance,
I've become
performance,
less
performance, right.
attached to the
Mhm.
big O. And
Mm.
when I do that, and I'm getting to this place where like my whole body is literally in this energetic shaking, sometimes with no touching at all. It's
Yes.
like, what the heck is going on with my body? I'm like electrically charged. I don't even
Yes.
need the classic O,
Yeah.
but if I do, it's vibrator too. So I just wanted to like, bond with you, sister.
Oh, I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And maybe that's it. Maybe I just need to be okay with that. I have it with my
Yes.
vibrator, and I have a
Yes.
fully different experience with a man. And I have been known also, I'm going to put this out here. I am really showing my hoo ha. Uh, I can squirt sometimes when I'm on
Yeah, I
top.
not yeah,
But
yeah.
again, not fully sure whether that is urination or it's actual secretions from my body. So I'm not totally sure. Maybe I just don't even need to think about it that much and just enjoy the experience that I'm having rather than worrying about labeling it.
Exactly. I
I
think
think
that's
it's the
beautiful.
thinking. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And I think what Junie said is sort of like the recipe to living. Like
Mm.
the more that we can relax, the more that we can trust that we're going to be okay. This is sort of the key to having a good feeling life or
Mhm.
good feeling sex. And I think your approach to like enjoy what you can out of this experience, enjoy what you can out of this other experience. And then in the
Yeah.
meantime, the more we can as a collective shed this need to perform or please or any of
Uh-huh.
that crap, that's like a side quest that will lead to eventually,
Yeah.
different orgasms.
I love that.
But the noise in our heads, I
Mhm.
still, and
Mhm.
I told him, this is in the vault, never to share this with anybody. And now I'm
Yet.
about to share it with you guys, which means we're sharing it with the world, that we were intimate and
Yeah.
whatever. And in the middle of nowhere, I said,
We won't tell anyone, Junie.
I
We
said,
promise. We won't tell a soul.
did you put the meat away?
Oh my God.
I'm like, it's on the counter.
I'll
Did you?
put the meat away.
Like, you can't tell anybody that, but that's what happens. These thoughts like fling
Okay,
in,
but
and I'm
Junie,
just like,
There
ouch.
was have we talked about this before? There was an entire episode about not Desperate Housewives. What was the Wisteria Lane? What show is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
Desperate
Desperate
Housewives.
Housewives.
Desperate House. Okay, and
Yeah.
and they were having sex, and there was a burrito on the nightstand, and it was sliding off the nightstand. This was what my ex-husband used to say about me. He used to call me burrito lady because the neuroses, right? The neurotic fixation on is everything handled and that inability to sort of relax. I think in my lived experience, so much of that is trauma brain and actually a difficulty with intimacy.
Mm.
And there it's protective
Yeah.
parts that are coming
Oh,
in to distract me from the
exactly.
experience of true, true, true intimacy. And so it's like the more I can learn to be truly close, to be truly vulnerable, to be
I
truly
love
intimate,
that.
and to like feel good about and within myself and then with you to be seen. I can see this show up when I go to the chiropractor and I want him to think I did a good job this week by how many like, and then when he can like, I always want to know like, oh, what's my body telling you, like like I want control over like, right, it's a difficulty being truly seen, held, supported, cared
Yeah.
for, and then that
Yeah.
translates to orgasms and the ability to not give a crap about the meat on the counter.
I have to
So I
imagine,
would love
Junie.
for yeah, I would love for women to get curious about, can they recognize that actually when all those thoughts come in, it's because there's some underlying discomfort with true vulnerability and intimacy and
Yeah.
connection.
That's right.
Yeah. I was going to
Yeah.
say, I have to imagine, Junie, that your man is like, I thought I already put the meat away.
Oh, we just laughed our asses off. He's like, "You what just went where?" You know, and I do want to piggyback real quickly on what you said, Dawn, because I do think it's a yes and. It's like because I think
Totally.
there's a slippery slope with what I'm hearing potentially as making me wrong or I'm getting in my own way. And there is definitely something to be said about being open and being intimate and allowing ourselves to drop in and be so present with somebody 100%. And I've had a lot of
Mhm.
trauma with men. So raising my hands on that. And women's brains are different. And we, I think, really need to learn how to reel it in and to be present. That's why I love when I do my meditations and
Surrender.
help myself to really ground. So yes, and because I think it's a tricky thing, and I know I've suffered, if you will, with what's wrong with me, and it must be
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
when it might be a mixture of things. So I just wanted to put that
But
out
I would
there.
frame it more as what part of me feels threatened or unsafe right now. Not wrong, right? But like what part of me needs to feel safer.
Yes, and the trauma piece is where I'm honing in on is like, oh, if I have trauma, that's what's quote wrong with me. Like I had this thing, so it's affecting me in that way. And yes, for me, I can totally say that is true. And women's brains are different. We are
Yeah,
more
honestly,
busy.
Junie, I was thinking, like, does anyone not think about the groceries and the burrito during sex? Like, to
Women's
me, that seemed
brains.
completely normal and not embarrassing at all. And my husband and I have so many jokes about the things I like. How much can I get away with talking about the children and you still are hard?
During sex. Yeah.
Like, what's the balance between me getting what I need done, which is to clear my mind, and getting,
Yeah,
what you need done,
yeah.
which
Getting
is,
you done.
Right,
getting you exactly.
right.
Exactly. So I just,
Yeah.
to me, yeah. I mean, I
Yes,
think
and.
you're yes, and
Well, why
Yeah,
don't you
yes,
tell
and
us
is
what's going on with you,
beautiful.
Lori?
I mean, you guys are really making me think because so first of all, I had a long hiatus of ignoring sex. So my shift really happened more like when I had young kids and I kind of opted out, and then I was like really estranged from my husband and realized I needed to opt back in order to have what we call a romantic relationship with my partner. And so when I opted back in and decided I was going to have sex no matter what, because that's what defines a romantic relationship in my mind, I decided I was going to enjoy it. Like, I'm going to put my time into it. I'm going to enjoy it. And I
Yeah.
figured out how to orgasm every time. And I was going to tell you my physical hack, but you guys are making me realize my mental hack is probably far more important, which is I have fantasies I run. Like, I just have images I run. They work every time. I stopped making myself wrong for them. I stopped thinking that was meant I didn't love my husband or whatever. I'm like, I know how to get to the goal. I want to get to the goal. It makes us both feel better that remember, I'm a sexual blueprint. If you know the erotic blueprint, not everybody is like me. Not everybody should be like me, but I like to get to the goal. I'm like that across the board in my life. And so that's my mental hack. And the other mental hack, I think, or maybe it's even philosophical, is like I'm not judging what kind of work. I'm not judging that I need direct clitoral stimulation to have an orgasm.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
not thinking a penis should be able to do it while it's also trying to stay hard and wait to
Ah,
come. Right? Like, it's a lot. The
yeah.
guy's handling a lot, right? So I'm
Yeah.
Right?
like, okay.
Yeah,
So
it's a lot to
I
think about.
handle my orgasm clitorally. My husband backs it up with penetration, and it's a winning formula. And it never.
Yes.
I don't want to jinx it. Let me put it
Rarely,
this way: it's
rarely.
working very well for me.
There
It
we
is working
go.
I
very well for
love
me.
that.
That's a good
Yes,
strategy.
but I will say, yeah, I really do think it's like a great hack, and I don't know why
Yeah.
people aren't doing it. And I think a vibrator, if I liked vibrator, I'm still like an 80s, 90s masturbator, so I'm like, I wasn't using a vibrator when I was a kid. Like, why would I use it now? I respect and appreciate them, but, like, if the power goes out and my batteries die, I still wanna be able to come, so,
Yeah. Huh.
so the but what
Dawn.
this
Claiming independence from technology.
I'm apocalypse ready, guys. I
Wait,
really
Lori, my
yes.
battery's been out for 6 months and I still use it.
Plug her in.
I don't I don't understand.
Should I
What do
should
you
I
mean?
explain?
Explain,
I
Ozzy, go
really
for
don't
it.
get it. Help.
Well, it's so when the battery's in, it's vibrating. I don't need it to vibrate. I could just by
Oh,
the
Yeah.
stimulation.
sorry, just
Yeah. Yeah, all
I
good.
Oh.
mean,
All good.
to me,
No,
So
I
this
was
is
with you,
still
Lori.
what
I'm
I can
like, "Mm,
control the best. I can control my hand the best, and that's my
yeah,
tool of choice.
it's a good
But
tool.
one thing I will say has changed in my perimenopause and menopausal years, and I don't think it's hormonal, but it could be, is I have no interest in self-pleasuring. I am way too busy. I would not waste that time and energy, mental energy and physical energy, and not include my husband. That would just be mean. On the other hand, I'm
Mm.
very happy if he like I believe in self-pleasure. I absolutely 1000% believe it. And I think I might even get back to it once my
ooh,
kids are out of the house. So I'm
ooh.
not ruling it out. It just there has been a change in my
Mm.
interest and
Mhm.
frequency as I
Yeah,
have aged.
me
I'm
too,
admitting
Yeah.
that.
definitely.
But I'm
Yeah.
putting that on the table.
Well,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
I wanna add to that because I think what's great, Lori, is that and we're hearing this from all of us, right? That we all get to do it our way. There's
Mm.
no wrong or right way to get to orgasm. There's just your way. And
Mhm.
I don't think anyone can actually teach it to you. You could try different things if you're open to it. And I think, the practice of getting to it, right? The striving or the goal sometimes that's what gets in our way. That's the
Right.
block that limits us from actually, right? Because to me, orgasm is a spiritual, it's a spirituality in motion. It really it's
Pure
like
release,
it's
right?
a meditation
Yeah.
in motion, right? So
Mhm.
it's but it's, so many people explain it so many different ways that we feel that we have this thing that we have to achieve, and if we don't, we're a failure. And when we're a failure, we might as well not try. And that's why I think a lot of people don't self pleasure, because it right, it takes them away from the to do, which
Mhm.
is, as women, we're so good at every
Mm.
single day,
Mhm.
right? But when we do take the time, right, and I believe an orgasm begins hours
Mhm.
before, and if you're orgasming at night, it's the morning, right? It's
Yep.
hours before, right? It does take some time for us to pivot from the to do and the tasks that we have to remember to do, the thousand different tasks and jobs that we do, to the intimacy, right?
Yeah.
To intimacy really requires a sense of presence and a sense of trust,
Slowness.
and that's
Mhm.
really challenging for a lot of women. And
Mhm.
so I think when you can practice that, right? It's a practice. If you could practice that without the needing to get to the goal or striving for the big O, that's the key, right? It's just
Mm.
small little practices of how can I get to feeling myself more today? Can I
Yeah.
find pleasure in a moment? Can I find little moments in a day where, and it doesn't have to be sexual, because pleasure doesn't have to be sexual, right? So it's the pleasure and the sensuality that we could start to, and I think then we could take that to the bedroom with a partner. And Andrea, you brought up a really great point, because I actually think that, and Junie, you as well, when you have a partner that you feel safe with, that safety allows, it's almost an open door. It
Yeah.
allows us to be, it allows us to be us. It allows us to, it's a door to freedom.
Yeah.
And from there, we could get to the pleasure.
Yeah. Oh, I love
Yeah,
that, Ozzy.
drop the expectations and the push and show up. And
Yeah.
that's certainly what I have found with Michael is just there's no expectations. It's just we're being together and there is this safe
Mm-hmm.
container for anything.
Mhm.
And that's allowed me to open and relax and discover new things.
Yeah. And if you
Amazing.
don't have a partner that's open to doing that with you, maybe you should consider a partner that does. I don't know. I'm not telling anybody to break it off with someone, but I think it is important to be with someone who does have that care for you, and also talk about it.
Yes.
A lot of women don't talk about this. They're carrying this as shame, and they're bringing it into the bedroom. Nothing can happen with shame.
Mm,
Yep.
Nothing.
perfect.
The great
I love that.
disconnector.
So well said.
Greatness connector.
Mhm.
Karen, so quiet over there. What do you have for us
Yeah,
today?
no, I'm listening intently because everything you're saying is like spot on. So two things. I think in terms of my own ability to orgasm, I have a way easier time now than I did in my 20s and 30s.
Mm.
And I think part of that is just a certain comfort level that I've developed with my own body. But I also know, and I know I've said it to you before, it has a lot for me to do with emotional safety and a regulated nervous system. You know,
Yeah.
the years of being in fight or flight really impacted my ability to orgasm. And when I learned how to process my emotions and when I learned some skills for regulating my nervous system, all of that came back. Now, to touch on Ozzy, something that you said, I know I shared with you my expression that foreplay begins at breakfast. And I'll give you a perfect example of exactly what Ozzy was just describing. My man, Joe, has been away for 10 days on a business trip. And before he left, unbeknownst to me, he left all these little notes all over my house. So
Oh,
the
I saw one
time
of
he's
those
been
on your
away,
stories. Yeah.
there's like, I know I posted one of them on Instagram, but there was one on my mirror. There was one in the bathroom vanity. There was one in my closet, on my desk, all these little notes. I love you. I miss you. You're so sexy. I can't wait to get home to you.
Ugh.
That's foreplay. That's a turn
So
on for me.
cute.
Like I'm so excited about him coming home in part because of all of the anticipation of it. So I
Yep.
think we sometimes forget that, it's about all of those sexy texts you send throughout the day, or
Yes.
like there's a real, way to sort of keep things on a low simmer. And I think
Mm.
if I do that, then it's not that hard to bring things to a rolling boil, but it's
Mhm.
it's all these little moments. And again, I think it goes back to safety, communication, just a regulated nervous system, a sense of fun and play, not taking it seriously, but having fun with each other. That has brought me like from, you know, from one end of the spectrum to the other. I won't say I really struggled before, but it was hit or miss as to whether or not I would have an orgasm. Where now it's consistently every time, but I think it's in this relationship that is so satisfying to me on an emotional level. So then it
Yeah.
becomes really physically satisfying as well.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
excited
yes.
for Joe to come home.
Wait, when is he
Ooh,
coming on the
video
show with
that,
us?
Karen.
Tomorrow.
We want him on the show.
No. Dawn, what do you got for us, girl?
Oh man. Well, I've never really had a hard time with orgasm. Maybe here or there. I've developed sort of a policy later in life. I think the more that I've worked through my stuff, that if I'm not legit turned on, we're not having sex, right? We're going to take
Mm.
the time to get fully there because as long as I'm legit turned on, I'm having an orgasm. I've been able to have orgasms in my sleep before. So
Crazy.
I just have never really had that issue, but I do notice very much the hormonal shifts within my life because during childbearing years, right, we have all those hormones that cause us to adapt to the people around us and to prioritize relationship. And so I used to travel for work. And I noticed that when I was doing overnights by myself, no kid around, no husband around, no pet, like nothing to distract, and I was just with myself, I was way more likely to masturbate away than I was at home when I had all the noise and all the expectations and all the things that, right, all the burritos to think of. So I do think so much of it is
Mhm.
about space to be women. and space to be slow or space to be
Mhm.
in touch with what
Yep.
I actually desire versus what's, whether we're conscious of it or it's subconscious expected of me. So, that was a real learning lesson for me. I think it goes back to what Ozzy was saying about creating a practice of being intentional about creating moments of slowness, moments of connection, um, whether it's with myself or with my husband. Because if I don't slow down, if I don't get intentional about being in my body and about cultivating desire, then right, it's just there's a million things to do all the time. So yeah.
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 Also, um, that's such a great point because the to do, right? The masculine energy that as women today we're so used to.
That's right.
It's hard for the masculine energy to pivot into all of a sudden the play and the feminine. And again, it's all about the practice of going from the to do to the
Shift.
receiving, right?
Receive.
The
Yeah.
that energy, the flow, the feminine
Ozzy,
energy.
did you talk about your own personal
No, I haven't.
situation? Would
Go
you
for
hit
it.
it?
You're
No,
not
I
off
didn't.
the hook, Ozzy.
No, I'm happy to
You've
be on the
said a
hook.
lot of good things, but I
I'll
feel like I
speak
don't
about the
know your pussy
burrito.
well enough.
know.
Yeah.
My pussy vibrates a
I
lot.
need to talk about tacos and burritos.
Even not having had sex in 5 years, I still, when I think about, like, even now I'm turned on. Like,
Ooh.
anything can turn me on.
Lucky
Uh,
you.
right? Um, and I also learned, I went to I don't know what you would call her. She calls herself a god, like a sexual goddess, but she really taught me about orgasm and the sense that when I orgasm, so I went from needing to reach that orgasm, needing to have that O, to understanding that it again, it requires all that it requires, right? The before, the foreplay, hours before, as I prime and as I get safe in my body, and then I can release. And the act of release for me now, it's more about, again, it's a meditation in motion, but it's also for me now, it's the way I can describe it is it's the closest you could get to God. That's just how I could express it. It's this
Yeah.
it's this, nothing is needing anything from me. Nothing is required of me but to let go. And it's the one space where I could truly let go and be, and it's euphoric. It's almost like I'm on drugs. And if I, in the past when I've had this experience with a partner, holy shit. It's 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 like even the togetherness is to feel that the sense of you're there, but again, you're touching God, but you're also with you're with this like incredible masculine energy, and you're both just in this together.
Mm.
I was thinking about this, Ozzy, when Andrea was bringing us in at the top of the episode because she was saying we were dying to talk about orgasm. And that's part of what happens chemically, actually, when we have orgasm, right? Is we release these chemicals that are so
Yep.
euphoric. We also release the same chemicals when we die. It literally is the closest we can be to God and death while we're alive.
Same time.
Yeah.
I want to
so
say,
true.
Ozzy, I think, Ozzy, that you're on the same wavelength as I am because, as you all know, I'm very practical about my sex life and my orgasms. But I also find orgasms extremely practical for manifesting and for imagining and meditating and envisioning what I want because of exactly what you are saying, which is that the portals are open. I'm relaxed. I'm in a hypnotic state. Whatever I imagine in that state comes to me faster.
Yeah, sex
Right.
Comes to
magic.
me faster.
Sex magic is real. And did
And
you know that
nobody has touched on the wellness aspect of it. I mean, I call it vitamin O. It
Mm.
is amazingly healthy for women to have orgasms, for sure. I mean,
so healthy?
that's a fact. Like
Do you
it
know
Oh.
that they
benefits
used to
our
give that?
bodies.
Yeah, they used to give that as a remedy to women who were going through menopause. It was, they
Yeah.
would give them, this is how the vibrator started. They would give
Yeah,
them a
right.
device that would vibrate and would get them to orgasm. And that was, and the release and whatever chemicals that hormones it released, helped with
The
menopause
symptoms.
symptoms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Still does
Yeah.
today.
Still does. That's
Wow.
right.
There was a movie. Did you ever see the movie Hysteria? Is all about that. It's a great movie with Jake
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal, and it's all about how they would label these women hysterical.
Hysterical.
They would go to the doctor would give them a great orgasm, and they were like, "Oh my God, I feel so much better." And he became like, a sensation. Yeah. It's
And
funny.
Karen, by the way, it helps to sleep. So maybe
Yes.
use that as a remedy to sleep.
When I
Oh
can't
my
sleep.
God.
Oh, for sure.
Exactly.
It sounds like we
For
need to
sure.
bottle up
Exactly.
this vitamin O. I want a bottle of
Vitamin
this.
O.
Please. It's the only supplement I'm going to buy.
That's right.
There we
That's your
go. We found
supplement.
Andrea's
There it
magical
is, Andrea.
supplement.
That's
That's
right.
I know.
All right.
All right, guys. I appreciate the honesty there. That was it's nice to talk about that and for us to be real and honest and let people know that they're not alone out there. So for sure. So Karen, what do you have for us on the stats for our cultural watch?
Okay. So a large scale study found that across all age groups, men orgasm generally 70 to 85% of the time, while women reported only 46 to 58% of the time. So that, I guess is not all that surprising.
And we know women are lying.
And
about it.
Yeah, we're the
You
fakers in that one.
Yeah.
and
Although
actually,
men fake also. Men do fake. That's there's been studies, but not as much as women. Please continue, Karen. Sorry.
Well, I think, the studies seem to indicate that it's a lot easier for men to reach orgasm than women, as we know. And up at 43% of women overall report struggling with it, and 50% of midlife and older women report really struggling to come to an orgasm. Now, here's the funny part is that those same groups, so we're talking about 50 plus, will say that when masturbating, they will orgasm on average about 80% of the time. So it's not so much that their bodies can't.
Yeah.
It's more just the aspect of being with a partner and everything we just talked about, the various pressures, being in the head, having that goal-oriented experience. So yeah, some interesting stats that I think, corroborate everything that we just
We're
said.
normal.
We're normal.
We're so
Exactly.
normal.
Oh, thank goodness.
So normal.
Thanks for sharing that, Karen. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about the celebrities out there and what they're saying about it because they like to talk about it too. So Chelsea Handler, she recently joked that her orgasms got better after 45 years old because she stopped faking and she just got like better toys and fewer men. So that was her result for that.
Oh, nice.
She said she had like a
That's so
sexual
funny.
awakening. She was just less worried about how she looked and she was more focused on feeling good, which is, I think, kind of what we're all worried about, worried about where our boobs are, we're laying on our back. Are they beside us?
There might not
I don't
be
know.
anything. There might not be anything wrong with your pussy. There might be something wrong with your relationship to your mind, your relationship to yourself,
That's
your
right.
relationship to your partner.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
probably sometimes there's something wrong with
Yeah.
your physicality, but
Mhm.
unlikely
likely
that
not.
it's the most. Yeah.
All right. So then Jada Pinkett Smith, she also admitted to faking orgasms. Everyone is for years in her marriage, all these actresses. Then she realized that midlife forced her to stop pretending and to start exploring. And so on her show, Red Table Talk, she revealed that her grandmother taught her about self-pleasuring from a young age. So she would know that the pleasure was from
Powerful.
herself and wouldn't fall into the hands of a man. So
Like
I
who
thought
ever
that-
actually
yeah.
had anybody share and guide and teach and
Please.
wow.
Yeah.
Even I didn't do that for my kids.
Oh, no. I don't know what age you start that one. I don't know.
I know, right? Goals.
Maybe it's a grandmother's job. It might be a grandmother's job, not a mother's job.
Yeah.
Can you
I don't know.
imagine
It's
your
a good
grandmother
question.
talking to you about self-pleasuring?
Oh God, no.
Not mine.
None of them. We also have Madonna, who is now 66 years old. She made headlines after saying her post-menopausal sex drive came roaring back, but she also admitted to working hard to keep her body very orgasmic. So she said that sex isn't just a memory for her. It is still an obsession, as it was for many, many
Practice.
years. And she revealed that sex is her greatest guilty pleasure. And what keeps her going is her mantra. It's just the secret to her success. So she also made it clear that she regrets getting married both times, perhaps because those years were about external validation. And now, so she's reclaiming all this internal power. So I think it's just a mixture of a whole bunch of things, but it feels like most women are kind of discovering this later in life, midlife, postmenopausal, at whatever point where they're kind of going, wow, I really just want to understand and know my body instead of worrying about pleasing everybody and faking. I think we just get to that point. So there's hope for those young ones out there.
I'm curious what's the youngest age any of you remember having any positive education about your orgasm or your pleasure? Or like either
Never
a
did.
role model or a
Does
advice or suggestion.
watching Dirty Dancing in the 3rd grade count?
Oh,
God.
Yeah.
we're,
That might
we're all on this
actually be it.
dirty dancing
Oh my
train.
God. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember any really positive thing. I do remember being around 7 years old, like in 2nd grade, and leaning up against the corner of a desk and going, "Oh, that feels kind of fun on down there." And I thought from there, "Oh, this is exciting. I don't know what it is, but that was exciting." But my parents didn't talk to me about it. Well, parents, my dad's not gonna, but my mom didn't talk to me about it at all. So I think it was just kind of learning as I go. And it felt easier to just fake it than to actually try to learn how to do it. So,
The amount of internalized shame people have. My kid came to me, this was a few months ago, and she was like, this was after I gave her a new homeopathic remedy, right? Which often leads to an expression of things I have had suppressed or repressed. And she came to me and she was like, I have to tell you something that's been a secret my entire life. And I was like, oh, okay.
My entire life.
I have this tingly feeling between my legs sometimes. And like, bless her heart, right? And
Bless her
so I
heart.
totally normalized it for her.
Oh,
But the
wow.
amount of like insecurity or anxiety or angst she had been
Yeah.
carrying around about that, right? Like,
Even
my
in this
word.
sex positive
Yeah.
era.
Right?
wow.
Because
how
we
old is
aren't
she?
talking about it.
Yeah.
She's 11 now. So yeah, this is
11.
probably,
Beautiful.
yeah, she might have been 10 when she said that. I don't know.
But that's a great
Wow.
sign of your safety.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna say
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, did our moms not. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Please
Oh,
correct me if your moms were
we don't have
somehow-
time to open and close that loop.
Throw it out.
That's another episode. We need another episode on
Moms.
that.
About moms.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I just wanted to add also that TikTok, there's been a trend alert, which is hashtag orgasm gap challenge. And so that's the growing visibility of women in their 40s and beyond, where they're openly discussing sexual pleasure and the orgasm gap. So I don't know, menopause and midlife has changed the dynamics of sex and self-pleasure, apparently. And so there's a lot of chatter about it. I don't know. A lot of people are just starting to use
Good.
toys.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
thank God we're finally talking about
Yeah.
it, and there's a lot of great work out there that we can learn. Mama Gina's work. I mean, there's some good stuff out there.
Yeah, there
Mhm.
absolutely is.
Get your blueprint done.
Get your
Yeah.
blueprint
I
done.
think
We
Mama
talked
Gina
about
was
that.
my first education in pleasure.
Yeah.
Maybe in my
And Goop.
20s.
And our girl Gwyneth, who
Okay.
we're always talking
Alright.
about.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
have some role models, some
We-
quietly influential role models for
We
We
just don't know
do.
it.
Well, you all are inspiring me to really work on myself and find new things. I did talk to one woman who kind of told me to just have like a date with myself and not even meaning to use a toy, vibrator, whatever it would be, just to kind of touch myself and find things that please me and try to do that, and hopefully I'm sure a little bit of I'm a little probably desensitized down there because I put that shit on high when I tell her,
It's a
So,
thing. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
And then
All
you
right.
get dependent on it, right? Because
You do.
that's your way
Not
to,
apocalypse
right.
ready.
You guys,
What are we going to do, Andrea? What are we going to do?
let's just be
Oh,
honest.
Andrea will perish, unfortunately.
I know.
Neural pathways can be changed.
That's
right.
right.
That's right.
Can be
Okay.
changed.
Yes,
You learn
yes.
one thing, you can learn another.
That's
I'm
right.
on a mission.
So true.
I'm on a mission.
You can have many tricks in your bag.
We got you, girl.
All right. Well, let's move on to our legs wide open section. We love this. We are going to play Never Have I Ever. It's our midlife sex edition. We are going to use our paddles. So we hope you guys are watching us on YouTube. We post every episode on YouTube so you can see, first of all, Lori's faces she makes throughout. She loves to do that for us. And also just
You
our
can see what I
reactions.
do when you say we're going to use our paddles.
A paddle.
Right?
Ozzy, I thought Ozzy would make the joke, but no. I have to do
You
it.
too.
Okay, sorry.
She got
Yes,
this
watch us
one.
on YouTube.
I'm being a
Yes,
good
but
girl
also
today.
to see our connection. Like, it's different when you're watching us live. So go on and watch us, you guys, and see how we're reacting. But for now, we're going to play Never Have I Ever, Midlife Sex Edition. So I'm going to throw out some Never Have I Evers. If you have done this, you are going to show your green thumbs up paddle. And then we're going to chat a little bit about the things we've done. Now, last time we went real deep with Dawn's sunning of her butthole. So where are we going today? Oh,
I
no.
am
This is
dying to
exciting.
know.
All right, guys, here we go. First one. Never have I ever had sex just to avoid an argument. To avoid the argument. No, I get angry. Karen does.
I prefer arguing. I
You-
prefer arguing.
I do too, but
that
I will tell
wrong?
you that the bulk of my clients do this. They have sex to avoid arguments.
To avoid it.
the bulk of
Totally.
them.
All right, Karen,
Interesting.
explain your people. Explain your people.
I just, it's mood management, ladies. Like, when you're when you're married to a man who's prone to moods, you just learn sometimes it's just easier than dealing with the mood.
to get through it.
I
than
mean,
over it. Yeah.
there was a reason I spent all those years in fight or flight. I was having too much sex out of
Yeah, but
trying to.
yeah, if they're not good to fight with, then
Yeah.
sex makes sense.
Might as well have sex.
Strategy.
Might as
Yeah.
well.
Sometimes it was the lesser of two evils. And, I don't want to demonize my ex-husband, but I do think that, when you are with a man who can't manage his emotions, sometimes we feel like we have to manage them.
Yeah.
And that was one way that I tried to manage them.
I think that's
Yeah.
so common. So
Yeah.
common.
Yeah,
Good.
it's actually a sad question.
Mhm.
All right. Well, then let's try a better one. Never have I ever faked an orgasm so well that I almost believed it myself. I'm like, damn, you're good.
I don't think I would have ever thought it really was, but I definitely have gone that way.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, give me the
Well,
Oscar.
has anyone here never faked an orgasm?
Wow.
All paddles went
No,
down.
but when I faked it, I know I'm faking it.
Dawn's questioning.
Yeah, it was it definitely in my very younger years, right? Like it's just not something I would do anymore. And I'm having trouble remembering like a time, right? But I'm sure, I am positive based on who I was and how I showed up back then that I have. It's just not a common thing. And that may tie back though to orgasm is not that difficult for me. So
Oh,
right,
Yeah.
that's- maybe
I'm also thinking like I was having sex before I probably even really understood what an orgasm was. So it's
Mhm.
possible I
Sure.
was fake. Like making sounds like I'm enjoying it could
Yeah.
easily be confused for faking an orgasm.
yeah.
Mhm.
I want to know,
If you
when
don't
did
know-
everybody lose
yeah.
their virginity?
Ooh, I was 18.
17.
Wasn't fun.
20. I was a late bloomer.
Me too,
Mm.
20.
I was like 17.
Lori's
Lori?
eyes.
Lori, she's like, I was 12.
Watch YouTube. Watch YouTube.
New Yorker, born and bred New Yorker.
And
15.
15.
I
Okay.
did it during high school lunch break because I thought,
no.
I want this done. I want this over with. Talk about
That
how
is-
mentally I started this
A lot
journey.
of girls think that, but
Yes.
don't follow
Interesting.
through at lunch hour.
I was efficient.
Thankfully.
I was
You
efficient.
were.
Let's get this baby done.
Sorry,
Check.
I'm sorry, I think we have
she has an eager beaver.
we've hijacked Never Have I Ever.
That's okay. I liked it. I
I
like
was
knowing that.
definitely having orgasms before I had sex though. And then having sex was very
Yes.
stressful because then I knew I was sinning and then and then it got all
Oh.
banged up.
That's a
Anyway.
different story.
Ooh. Okay. Well, that
By the
like-
way, I look at my kids at age 15 and I cannot believe
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
that I
right.
did that.
you're like, there's no way.
It made sense at the time.
Yeah.
It did.
Everyone's
Right.
different, like we said. All right, next one. Never have I ever been mid-orgasm, and thought about my grocery list.
Every time.
Oh, my groceries?
Really?
No.
You
Mid?
can't have an orgasm and think about groceries?
If I'm
You're
there,
going,
I'm not
"Oh,
going
Cheetos."
anywhere.
I can multitask. I mean, the joke is for at the end of sex, my husband and I are both like, okay, my next call is at 9:15. This morning we were done at
no.
9:12.
And it is
before
on
the
the
9:15
calendar
call.
in Lori's house.
So,
All right. Never
It
have I ever realized a sex toy understood me better than my ex might have. So think of an ex-boyfriend, ex-husband. Did your sex
Understood
toy?
me?
Yeah, your sex toy knows
course.
right where to go.
everyone's had a bad lover.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I-
maybe,
Yeah,
but yeah. Maybe
I don't give
some
my
partners.
sex toy that
but-
much power.
Mm.
Well, you
All right.
guys
You're-
know I'm just, the toys just don't do it for me.
Oh,
The
yeah,
toys
you
just
said that. You don't really use them.
yeah, I don't really use them.
You're
I don't
apocalypse ready.
Yeah.
I am totally ready for the apocalypse.
Wait, are you not bringing your sex toys to the apocalypse? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I just
There's no
Isn't that the one thing
electricity.
you
There's
need on
no
the island?
batteries.
You don't need electricity or batteries.
Wait,
I'm with
Ozzy,
Lori.
what was your comment? What did you say to that question?
I
To this
forgot.
never have I
That
ever.
we, yeah, sex toy. That the
I
sex toy
forgot.
understood you better than your ex.
Oh yeah. No, I don't give it that much power.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Oh,
want
the toy.
your partners to know you better than the sex toy.
Well, I better know me better than my sex toy.
Yeah.
There you go. And I
Oh,
think
so your
that's the
head.
piece. We
Yeah.
need to know
Mhm.
ourselves.
Mhm.
It's up to us.
Right, not
on-
being passive in the sexual
Yeah.
experience.
But
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you know yourself better than the sex toy, why do you need the sex toy for the
I
apocalypse?
don't.
Oh,
That's
okay,
where it
we're all
goes
on the
back
same
to
page.
the neural pathways too. But yeah.
Mm.
Tricky.
But this
All
is a real thing. Like, ladies, my current now husband, right? My second husband, when we first started having sex, I tell this story very often that one day I had to pee, right? While we were having sex. And it felt so vulnerable for me to tell him I have to pee and to go pee. It like was very, very stressful. And I had like a total crying meltdown. So I think for women, self-advocacy around sex it's a real issue. Like that's my story. And I know I'm not alone there, you know? So I think knowing ourselves well and advocating for ourselves and asking for what we want, like that, that's a journey and it's
Challenging.
hard.
Yeah. Asking for what you
Practice.
want. Yeah.
Dom, were you more worried about like what it was doing for you? Like you were worried for him that he was going to lose his erection. You were worried it was going to ruin the mood. You were worried you were going to take too long. What was your fear in that?
I think it came from a very young place, which is a weird thing to say to do with sex, but I just think that I grew up never having a voice or a say or having a need validated or, you know, and I was post-divorce. So I had done all this therapy around really like stepping into the truth of who I am, being authentic, owning my thoughts, feelings, beliefs, desires, and all of this. And so it was like me practicing not faking it, not performing, you know, and so it was a very scary moment of just speaking up, period. Like it was
Yeah.
just fear of that neural pathway of being afraid to speak up or speak the truth or be vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah,
true.
it's a big deal.
Thank you. All right. So, all right. That was very serious for a second. Let's get back
Likewise.
to never have I ever, this kind of goes with it, stopped mid sex to adjust the lighting for confidence and ambiance, both. I have totally done that. I do that to put the music on, right? I'm like, hold, please. I don't like silence.
You love to set the stage.
I set the
You
stage
are the,
because that
you are
turns
the
me on.
consummate. You are the consummate host, right? You're hosting
turns
us.
me
But
on.
I'd rather
Your
have
podcast.
that done before than
I
during.
know.
And once
Yeah.
I'm in it, I'm
You're
going.
in
It'll
it,
help
you
your
know?
orgasm, Andrea, to be more of a
That's
control
it.
freak
To
like
have it done
me.
before. You know, G.S. Youngblood talks about this
Yeah.
book in his book about the masculine and feminine. I can't remember, but he coaches men in there to make sure they handle all that stuff before. Make sure you turn the fan off, the light down. Like, make
Socks.
sure you make it very comfortable. Like light a candle, turn on some music. Like make a comfortable space for a woman to be a woman. Yeah.
Ask her about her shopping list and what's
Yeah.
distracting her in the room. Because that is part of why we could get it done so fast is because we had our feelings party in the morning where we said everything on our minds.
Yeah.
So we're not bringing it to the bedroom. It's anyone could do it. You don't even need a partner that's willing. You could just do it with a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what happens if it's sort of spur of the moment and you have a guy there and he just like takes you and right like and he just throws you on the bed and does whatever he needs to do? Like what if there is no planning time?
Yeah.
It's
Enjoy.
spontaneous.
Yeah,
That
you're
works
then,
for you.
like-
Great. If
That is
works
the
for you.
plan.
Yeah.
That is
That's
See, I
the
love
plan.
the spontaneity of that. I
That
love
sounds
that.
distracting enough to get it right, except that her brain starts talking
That's
to her about
right.
the angles and
Yeah.
the lighting. So
Yeah, totally. All right. Never have I ever realized midlife completely changed what turns me on. I think that has changed me.
So
Yeah.
true for me.
Yeah. Not you.
Things
Lori's
have
been going
changed a
since
lot.
15. There's nothing to change.
well, things have changed, but not only slightly for the better.
Oh, so we have
I'm
3
gonna
and
say
3.
maybe a little. I'm
John's
gonna
a
say maybe
flipper.
a little, and it's more about being able to. I think I do have more self-awareness about. I'm gonna mention G.S. Youngblood again about what a masculine man who's not a nice guy or passive or like that there's something about like I have gotten more sorted about the masculine and the feminine, and that has helped me understand more my own sexuality and what I'm attracted to. So I don't know if I attach that to midlife or just the journey of personal development, but a little.
Yeah.
We
love that.
still all know how I feel about sun on my butthole. Like that's never changed.
I know that has
Everybody
to
knows.
turn you on. You said that increases libido too. Love that,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
That's why we said it.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll try that. All right, last one. Never have I ever stayed in a relationship because the sex was that good, even though everything else wasn't. But the sex was. I totally had.
I might have stayed a little bit
A little
for
bit.
that.
So we have 3
Maybe
no
maybe.
ways. 2 flippers and me solid.
In the
solid.
past, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, because I know, like, I've struggled with what I can do. If they're bringing something that is helping me to do other stuff, even if they just suck as a person for a while, I'm going to be like, okay, I'll put up with this shit to get that for a little while, just for a little while.
I
Just
think
a
that's
little while.
common. Yeah.
It's kind of common. Good job, ladies. I think those were some good ones
Woo!
around the big O. The legs are closing there.
The burrito is gone.
Gone. It's been eaten. All right, you guys. I love that we had that conversation. I think that was very important. We've been wanting to talk about the big O for a while and how that's affecting each of us now in midlife and going through menopause or postmenopause. But we want to hear from you lounge lovers out there. We want to know what you guys are doing. What's your favorite sexual self-care practice or your pleasure hack? Lori gave us some good ones. So we'd love to hear from you guys. We're on Instagram and TikTok at Menopause Love Lounge, so you can find us there, and you can email us at theladies@menopauselovelounge.com. We want to hear from you guys. And don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe so we can have more amazing episodes. Anything else you guys would like to add before we sign off today?
Our Instagram and TikTok makes me laugh every day.
It's so good. So
It's so
funny.
good.
We're getting some really good ones on there. So you guys got to
All right,
check
so
that out
we
too.
want to remind everyone to take their vitamin O.
Take the vitamin
Take
O.
your vitamin
That's
right.
New bottles on the
That's right.
shelf coming soon. All right, you guys, have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.